Hi everyone, I'm Myrza Sison and welcome to Join Lang ng Join. I'm so pleased to finally pin down our guest from all her busyness and get to have a conversation with her today. Friends, please welcome one of the smartest, most talented, most versatile, articulate, self-aware, insightful, and underrated actors in the industry today, as well as a music label head and musician manager slash mentor, and in all caps on her Instagram ID, Mother Chynna Ortaleza.
Wow.
Hi, Chi.
Here's a, I do not know what I did to deserve your wonderful introduction. That probably is the best introduction I have been given in the
Oh,
20 years I have been in this industry. So
no
thank
way. Underrated talaga. I met every word, and it's not easy to impress me, but ever since I met you in Sherry Hill's masterclass workshop mid-year last year. I was really impressed by your talent, artistry, and
you,
that word we learned in class, coraggio,
Coraggio. Yes.
or courage to show your all your vulnerability and fears. I was really touched, and so I feel like I'm a better person because I met you. So thank you for being here today.
Much. And yun nga parang I was really happy to be able to do that class with you because you didn't know, but ever since I was a kid, I would always like see you.
Uh-oh.
Of course, no, because I love to read, and of course, magazines are part of it, and you were always there. And I thought she's such a powerful woman.
Oh
So it
wow.
was really nice to be able to see you and really happy to see your breakthroughs. Grabe.
Oh my
Yung
gosh.
word, guys. Ginawa talaga ni Mirza dun sa class namin ni Mystery. As in, higher. Yun yung sinasabi ng generation ngayon, higher. Ang lupet.
Walang makakaalam kung anong ginawa ko, not just yet.
Not yet, but soon, hopefully.
So how are you? How's your 2021 so far?
It's been okay. I mean, right now we're trying to do a lot of things as well, trying to balance everything because 2020 was just like a whirlwind for the both
Right.
of us in terms of like being parents, and then at the same time we were trying to really like juggle. Yun nga, what he said, we have OC records, which we really do every day because we try to like weave the dreams of all these artists that trust us. And apart from that, of course, there's the individual careers that we still have to focus on. So now 2021, it started out pretty well for us, chill, like sabi ko nga kay Kian, I like this vibe because we actually have more control in terms of like the time that we spend on things
Right.
that matter. So that
Right.
2020 taught us how to prioritize and balance things. And we're trying to do that now, etong year na to. We're really trying to put in energy in things that matter. And we hope to be able to help more people this year.
Right. I love to see uh right now the place you're at because when I met you, you were
Oh my God. Yeah, I was
at
pretty
this place.
honest with
This
you
is your
guys,
post
right?
at the beginning of the pandemic and you said, "Fuck you 2020." With a
Yeah, I
poem by one of your
like
favorite poets.
grabe. I think we were really in such a weird place, you know. But sabi ko nga sa friends ko, sa everybody who I interact with, I was like, you know what, 2020 will probably be like will go down in my lifetime as one of the best years because
Right.
sudden it you feel all of it. It's always nice to be displaced. I feel
Right.
like all of a sudden you're like kicked from that routine, and all your plans that you have in your mind are suddenly like wala na. So I think life happened for everybody, and we really needed that. We really
And it
needed.
no, we needed to be kicked out of
Yeah.
our senses. And so if you
Yeah.
could summarize like the top three uh what lessons or realizations that put
Okay,
you in a good place where you are today? What would they be?
actually, these things, I didn't even like ask for this.
Right,
It just
right,
like landed on my lap. So 2020, number one, made me realize the value of just letting go and going with the flow. Because I'm
right,
a very controlling kind of person.
right. I mean, you named your record label OC.
Well, actually, ano yan, nakakatawa yan because we just like thought of OC, but then we never like really put the Ortaleza Cipriano name there.
Oh,
Parang kami,
really?
yeah, yeah, we always tell people, why is it OC? Is it because Ortaleza Cipriano? And we're like, actually, no, we just put those two letters together and then bahala na kayo, what you wanna attach to the letters.
Right,
So it eventually grew into like an odd community because we really like to foster uniqueness, and we try to tell the artists that it's okay to be your unique self. You have to be out of the box. That's how
right,
we try to really encourage them. So
right,
that's number one for me, the fact that I really suddenly realized what it meant, that thing, go with the flow. You have no control of what the universe, God, life is going to do. So you just
yeah,
have to stay afloat, and as much as possible, honor, and like balance is the second lesson. Honor both energies, positive and negative, um, in a way that will not like really make you go crazy. Kasi
that's
I was
super
telling,
hard.
'di ba, it's important kasi to be able to really listen to yourself and all the energies that come within the self. Um,
Right.
it's because a lot of us try to be like, oh, I gotta be positive. I gotta stay positive to be able to survive this thing. Of course, that's a great thing to have. But at the same time, you can't kill the negative voice because you've gotta listen to it as well to be able to master whatever it is that you're going through.
Right.
So balance was like very important for me during that season. And third, which I never asked for, is really like it was like a slap sa face ko, Mirza, because I'm like the laziest, most non-athletic person that you ever meet in your life. You can like, I know people, my friends, my husband, you know, keep on encouraging me to get into sports, to work out, and I give them like the worst excuses, and it finally caught up with me, and now they're laughing at me because sabi nga nila, so now you should listen, right? 'Cause I always told them, I don't want to work out. And they're like, why don't you want to work out? Why can't you just do something to like work out your brains? And they'd be like, what is she saying?
So
She
now
just
are you like a
worked
fitness
out.
freak?
No, but all of a sudden, um, latter part, no, actually, mid part of the pandemic, I started like getting really bad gut problems.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, sabi ko, this isn't right. Something doesn't feel right. And the medicines that were being given to me would help, but then eventually I'd have to do it all over again, which I didn't feel
Right,
good about because I just feel like the medicines are of course there to help us treat the symptom, but I've
right.
always wanted to like get to the root of it. So um if you've seen my posts, I'm always like asking people about this whole new lifestyle that I have to stick to, which is how to eat right. How
Right.
the like really good food, and try to influence my family's lifestyle as well because I'm such a cheese freak. Sugar,
Oh no, goodbye dairy.
yeah, all of
Oh,
that, all the bad stuff, chocolate. I've been enjoying that since I was a kid. My mom's pretty lenient when it comes to things
right.
like that. And so eventually, sabi ko nga, ang aga naman ata for me to have issues that will prevent me from enjoying chocolate or cheese or all the things that I want to for the rest of my life. So I have to fix it.
Right.
And So health is wealth. That's the third lesson that I was really like slapped on. Talagang mas may pain pang kasama. So sabi ko nga, shucks, pain is the biggest catalyst to change. Always.
Right.
So in this aspect, my physical body had to scream at me to pay attention. So
Wow. Wow. And it's not easy to let go for a type A person like you
yes.
based on what I've seen, especially for a very hands-on mom like yourself with no help. And I was watching your interview with Jimpy and Pap. Jimpy's
Oh
a former
yeah.
office
Yes.
mate of mine, where you said, now you let go. Kung mabunggo, matututo sila.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Now that's really happening to me. And of course, sabi ko nga, because my personality is such, you really just see yourself, or like you catch yourself failing every day at trying to let go, or just
right,
trying to let the universe do its thing, especially with my children. But at least there's a conscious effort now to try to like step back and you know
right,
just let them grow into their
right,
own beings. So
right.
yun.
And you've applied this to yourself too, right? Like I can so relate with the perfectionism,
Mhm.
which during the whole of last year there was only so much we could control, and
Yes.
so I always thought perfectionism was an asset or a good thing. Like I was always the anti-pwede na. And
Oh my
then now, parang
dear.
now everyone's mantra is, cheers. Now everyone's mantra is, pwede na yan, be kind to yourself. Okay
Yeah.
na yan. Okay lang humiga. And you
Oh.
said you always have you said ang pagtulala ay luxury. I love that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, I was like, I saw that post on Glamo Mamas, and I'm like, if you were given a break for a day sa pagiging nanay, what would you do? And I'd be like, oh, seriously, I just like stare out into space. Let everything just enter and then go out. And what luxury! Sabi ko talaga, yan yung luxury sa akin ngayon. Hindi na siya
Right.
anything material or what. It's just like having some time to just sit down or lie down and think of nothing.
Right. It's hard to empty your brain when there's so much stimuli.
True.
So,
I've tried to meditate, Actually
oh,
2020 I was able to go into like different forms of meditation, and honestly I'm still trying to find what I really love to do, but at least yun nga, there's like little steps really matter. I feel the small steps, you can't invalidate that at all, because syempre
right,
um a lot of people think, oh, if I want to be this, then the next day parang magic. Apparently
right,
no, it's really a journey, no? Parang
right.
it's important that you progress every day. You don't really strive for perfectionism, which is like our enemy Mirza, because
I know.
but, but yun nga, the small steps matter. So like what happened to me, I consulted with a functional medicine team
Okay.
recently because of my gut issues. And then I was really doing so well for like the whole month. I was so proud of myself because I was eating so well. And at the same time, the pain was like I wasn't feeling it for 2 weeks. So I felt really happy. And then the other day, I realized I needed to eat more things that would help me gain more weight. Because right now my weight is a little low. It's at 90 pounds.
Wow, what a problem.
I'm like, I'm so underweight. I might as well just help my body, like, yun nga, get more energy, get more
Right.
nutrients. So all of a sudden, I asked my nutritionist if, my favorites are like native kakanins. So I like a lot
Oh, okay.
of kuchinta and
Okay. So, masama
anyway,
yung sugar.
Well, the sugar naman, I have my sugar under control. So I got naman permission from my nutritionist to like try to get suman or pwede rin
Okay,
akong
that's so
magpalitaw.
sweet.
Yeah, mga ganun-ganon just to help me like also not feel deprived. So
Right.
I saw somebody selling palitaw and I got so excited. And so I gave myself like a really good serving of palitaw with some coconut sugar. And I enjoyed that moment. And then after a few hours, I started having like sikmura pains and I'm like,
Oh my God. I can super relate and we can have like a whole gut discussion
oo, no? Grabe. Ano ko
later
naman,
on.
affects everything, di ba? So, super funny because that's when I realized, okay, I have to tell my doctor, I have to tell my nutritionist what happened. And they were so encouraging. They were like, be easy on yourself. At least you enjoyed your palitaw. And you can't have perfectionism right away. I mean, 1 month of having like the feeling of being well is actually great. So take it
Right.
easy.
Kala mo alcoholic, di ba? Parang, I have
No.
to confess, I ate palitaw. Lasing ka
Yeah.
pala na.
Oh
So
my
I'm
gosh, I
flashing
look
this
the
picture
boy.
because it's time for a walk down memory lane.
Okay.
This is
Let's
you at
talk.
11
Yes.
during your five and up stint with people like Atom Araulio. And who else was part of
Uh,
five and up?
I was in a batch with yeah, Atom, and then also there's Carlo Mendoza, who was actually a batch before me, but he's one of the really top cinematographers of the Philippines.
Wow.
And there's also Maxine Magalona was part of the
Oh,
show, among so many other talented people. There's Zach
right,
on, 'di ba? He used to be with Rappler, but he mans his own like publication now. So it's
right,
great to be in the company of all these wonderful children and to be mentored by the likes
right,
of Cheche Lazaro. I think sabi ko, I'm very vocal about the fact that I'm so thankful that I was chosen to be part of Five and Up. It's probably like one of the coolest things that ever happened in my childhood and adolescent years
right,
because it really shaped me. They taught us how to be independent, to explore, and there was always like a thirst for knowledge and the thirst to connect to people that we eventually like took on hanggang
right,
pagtanda namin. And you know
right.
what? I was siguro mga 10 years ago we got together before all the social media things happened and before YouTube really blew up. And we were talking amongst ourselves in one of our favorite Persian restaurants in Ortigas, and we were like, we guys should really get together and try to revive Five and Up because I feel like children deserve it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, there aren't a lot of educational children magazine shows around.
Right,
And like gauging from what my kids watch on YouTube, I was like, shucks, you should really have like a show that people in my generation used to enjoy.
right,
And we've been trying to talk about it, but of course, we're just giving it time because everybody has their own careers and somebody has to really focus on that. But
right,
definitely, that's like a seed that we have planted. It's a dream that we want to happen, um, hopefully soon. Kasi parang I feel like the kids really need to be able to see the world, especially now during this
right.
time.
I'm sure when you have your own network, which you have talked about, that's one of your dream, you will have a show like that, maybe starring Salem and Stellar. So fast forward to
Wow.
Click, where you became part of a love team
Yes.
with Richard,
Yeah. Uh,
and so you accepted your foray into acting after much hesitation, right? But
sure.
um, this happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
tell us about this, and it kind of altered the path of your career
Yes.
in not so many ways.
Yeah, cuz well, initially, when I entered the business, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't understand the craft of acting at all.
Right.
It's just that I have parents who really value opportunities, and they were like telling me, when an opportunity comes your way, you really have to grab it because it might not come back. There's no harm in trying anyway. It's either you succeed at it or fail at it. There's really no difference. My mom and dad would always like give me talks like that when I was young. So I really wanted to be a broadcaster, Mirza. Like it was my
Yeah.
thought. I wanted to go into news and public affairs because I was trained to do that. But then all of a sudden, here comes the entertainment business, showbiz. And honestly, sabi ko nga sa mga interviews ko, I was the kid that always looked at the people in showbiz and thought they were baduy. So all of a sudden, here it is. I'm being offered this thing that I would laugh at in high school.
Right.
And then my dad really like sat me down because I was in college and I was so idealistic, and I was like, I really don't want to try that out because that's totally not my personality. And he told me, so what's your course? And I'm like, well, I'm taking communication arts at the moment. And he said, so if you project in 4 years, what do you think you're gonna do? And I was already like doing a lot of guestings, and of course the exposure to the work in media kind of like already gave me an idea of what would happen. And sabi ko nga sa kanya, well, definitely I'd start the first step, which is being a production assistant. And my dad was saying, are you going to wait 4 years for that to happen? Or are you going to take this opportunity and then not promise me to not be stupid about it? So I was like, huh? Sabi niya, because you're saying you're in college, but you're already being given an opportunity here where you
Wow.
can actually learn the ropes and like accelerate yourself in terms of knowledge 4 years.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So my dad was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Of course, as your parent, I would like you to stay in college. But in case things get really busy, the only thing that I want you to like put in your head is not not to be stupid about it, and learn everything that needs to be learned while you're on set because you're there.
Right.
And so there, I took that with me, decided to jump at the chance and see if I would love it. And so now, 20 plus years after, I love the craft of acting. And so to answer this question with the love teams and everything,
Right.
it was something that I was thrown into without really much understanding of
Right.
how these things really work. But definitely, I have to be thankful to GMA and, of course, Richard for agreeing to do this with me, and even Angel, because, well, number one, the love team cemented my position in the
Right.
industry because all of
Right.
us, people, you become a household name when, and it's not easy to make a love team work. And
Right.
a lot of the people who followed us still keep on thanking us up to this point in our lives, saying thank you because you guys really made us happy every Saturday, and that's an
Right.
achievement in itself. And then eventually, hard lessons in your career, like, okay, so you're trying to make things work with a love team, and all of a sudden things can change. So with like Angel being paired up with Richard in a primetime series, I had to step back and think about what I really wanted to do. And all of a sudden I'm like, I do love acting, but ever since, you've always known that you could actually like, there's more to you in terms
Right.
of that people haven't seen. And I really had to take some coraggio and managers about what I really wanted to achieve in my life. So I told them, I'm thankful for the Tweetums image, but if you would actually just listen to me and give me a chance to do characters that are not just sweet and cute and Tweetums, please give me a chance.
And so
And
you you got your
yeah, it
wish.
didn't come right away. Yeah, it didn't come right away, but I did get my wish. And during this time, it took 7 months for them to like give me a chance to just play with my characters, and after that it just came one after the other, and this was a time in my career where so much growth was happening personally, and I had so much fun just giving life to dark characters, you know. Ay nako, I think sabi ko nga sa, if you ask me what's your like dream role, and I'd be like, you know, I just really want to play Morticia Adams.
Kaya pala.
Yeah, and this role that you're showing me was the first time that I actually got to really work with Sherry for a
Right.
long time. And oh my god, we had such a good time in this series. It's like I felt like a Disney villain playing Natasha. And I was given so much freedom in terms of like how she looked, how we project her, and yeah, I mean, this was like one of the characters that I totally loved playing. I had such a good time, and this one is like babaeng ahas naman. Super funny because sabi ko sa kanila, I want to be Valentina, but I didn't get a Valentina role, but I did get a babaeng ahas role, which was
Pwede na. Close enough.
a mix of like Mystique and Valentina, and it
Right.
was quite challenging. Like now I know the value of prosthetics and how people like
Right.
go through that. Yeah. It's a
And
tough
talk
job.
about this role. I was so impressed by the clips. I didn't even
Oh.
parang totoong totoo. What was your process like in imbibing this character?
Um I guess there's always like the side of my being that was pretty predominant ever since I was a kid. As you could see in Five and Up, you know, this part of my being is pretty strong.
This
So
part.
yeah, this girl, this being. So I was in the middle of a series where I was playing the malande
Oh, okay.
malande ex-girlfriend. And then all of a sudden I get a call asking me if I'd be open to do a series. Actually, it was Glyza, because
Oh,
Glyza
okay.
are good friends, and she was telling me about this role that she got, and then she mentioned like, you know, I heard your name. They were talking about you, and I don't know if they're actually gonna pursue it, but I really hope that they call you. And I'm like, shucks, I hope they do, because I've always wanted to do something like that. I've always been very passionate about the LGBT community. In my
Right.
family, we have a lot of lesbians, and so I just feel like they do need a voice somehow. And when they finally called me, no second guesses talaga. I was like, let's go, let's do it. I'm ready. I'm gonna do it. And then I collaborated with Direct Dominic Zapata and Suzette Doctolero when we started crafting the
Right.
character. Because if you notice, Bachi represents that side of the spectrum. Kumbaga, parang ano siya talaga. She was the butch character
Right.
in the series, but we all decided that we would have to recraft like how people in the Philippines think of a butch.
Right. And not the usual
Yeah,
portrayal.
the usual portrayal na naka-baseball hat, and you know how it is, right? Naka-t-shirt, medyo
Right.
medyo medyo chubby, gano'n.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Director Dominic Zapata was so specific with the instructions of me. Oh my God, super funny. He was like, China, when you approach the character of Bachi Luna, I want to be able to see a character that I'd fuck as a man, I'd fuck as a woman, you know, and I'm like, oops, doorbell. Sorry about that, guys,
No
you know.
problem. Happens.
Yeah. So, just to continue on with that, parang, he told me also, China, you've got to lose some weight. And I'm
Wow.
like, "Mhm, why? Why do you think I need to lose the weight?" And he's like, because I want you to look like a Korean pop idol. And this was what year
Oh,
when
yeah,
the K-pop invasion wasn't even present during this time.
right,
And I was like, oh, nice character, Peg. I actually like that because they're so androgynous, you know. So
right.
um, we crafted Bachi in this aspect. So I went down to around 87 pounds for Bachi to
Oh
come
my
to,
goodness.
and I had so much fun with Bachi because that male energy I didn't know was where my
The
fun
BDE.
was. Yeah, was where the funny lied because I was like really just binabasag ko yung buong series with like my hits and lahat ng ad-libs ko, you know, binabasag ko si Glyza, si Rian, ganyan, the whole time. So, it was fun and I felt so poggy. Oh my god. I felt so poggy. Like all the I get like messages also saying na parang
Oh, I'm
I have a
sure.
crush on you or like you're making me turn into something else. And it was I just felt so poggy and guapo and liked, you know, during that time.
And direct Joel Lamangan was also a big believer in you and a great
Oh,
influence, right? You want to talk about the time of your life,
um, Direct Joel was probably like it still is one of the directors that I'm really grateful for because there was a time in my life, like the crossroads in my career, where I was trying to like find what I really wanted to do. And I didn't know if I wanted to like jump out of my network, try another network, and things like this. And after a while, as an artist, medyo magulo. So, syempre, your management will always try to give you some time to think about it first, you know, to breathe. Um, and it was Direct Joel who would always request for me for a soap or like for a project, for a movie.
right? Right,
He'd be like, "Do you want to do this? Can you do this?" And I love how he works. I love the fact that he's serious about the work. Like you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be there ahead of time. All the things that I've always like really put into my professionalism as an actor. Also, ganun din siya. So, match na match kami in that aspect. And then, love na love ko yung feeling that you go there, you do your thing, and then after that, you get out of character and you still have energy to do other things because he works snappy and you have
right.
to know what you're doing. So, he gave me a lot of hope as an actor, na if somebody like Joel Amangan, who's such an esteemed director,
Right.
actually believes in me and keeps on telling me, you know what, China, you know why I like you? It's because you're raw. And but even if I'm telling you you're raw, don't stop at that. You've got to keep on learning. You've got to bring in more techniques under your belt so that you'll be able to stay in this
Right.
industry longer. I learned a lot from him, you know. So
And I'm
yeah,
sure your the his belief in you did wonders for your confidence, and yet it was also coinciding with a time where you would get negative comments about your teeth or your breasts.
oh yeah,
And I
yeah,
was surprised to know that you were affected because, of course, you're just human, right? You want to tell us about the time and how you were able to overcome it because social media has exacerbated these feelings, right? Because of all
yeah,
the negativity being spewed all about. How did you manage
yeah.
to cope with that
I've,
and
yeah,
get
I've
through
always
that?
been a warrior. Actually, if I think about it, I've always been the anti Barbie doll. But still, you're exposed to a lot of things around you that alter your perception a little bit. You
Right,
kind of yeah, you kind of think maybe yeah, maybe if I do this, then they're probably right. I'd probably get more likes or like approval or
exactly.
yeah, you know. So um that was a time when I really had to struggle with things. I'm just really happy that I have parents who just love me for who I am. You know,
Right.
they never really made me feel inadequate about myself in any aspect of being. Wala talaga, physical, wala. They just really love me for who I was. And I remember like somebody prominent one time that I worked with made a comment about my teeth, and apart from that, even like people from the press would comment on my performance saying, "Oh, she's actually great in this, but I was so distracted by her teeth." And
Oh,
yeah, and somebody like really prominent in the industry made that comment, and my mom was there, and of course I was just being very graceful about it, just smiling at this person saying, "You know what, your teeth talaga, they're so that you should really change your
oh my
teeth."
gosh.
And my mom was like, "Oh yeah." So but you know what, if you think about it, my mom was like, my mom has sharp wit pero hindi mo alam kinagat ka na. Sabi ng mom ko, "Yeah, you think so? Oh, you think so? Well, if I look at my daughter, I see her every day. She eats, her teeth function well. I don't she uses her teeth.
Woo, go mom.
She can masticate pretty well, my mom. So I don't think I need to change her teeth." So
Alam ba nung nagtanong yung meaning ng masticate?
sana naman 'no, sa lagay ng buhay niya and her background, alam naman siguro niya yung ibig sabihin ng masticate. Um, pero things like that, and of course, like, you know what? My mom is such a great example for me because, she would actually just let me figure out my way. Cause I remember being pressured to have implants put on because they're saying you look like a baby. We can't put you in roles that are
What
more
do you mean?
mature
Teeth
because you
implants or breast
breast
implants? Okay.
implants, breast implants. I even had the extent of being asked to alter my chin, because it
Huh?
was
Oh my
yeah.
god.
So
Well,
anyway, with the breast implant thing, I was like asked so many times about it if I would consider, and if money was an issue, they'd actually sponsor. But so I was like thinking about it for a couple of like times. I remember trying it out, like buying silicone, the silicone
oh my
one,
gosh. Yeah,
the
yeah.
the ones that you put into your bra, and then the
Right.
free bra.
It's not
So
lit.
I was trying to put that on myself in scenes, and I was like thin, Mirza, like super thin, and I'd have to like walk into a scene with these fake silicone things on my bra. And I remember just giving up because one time we were doing like an action scene, and I was like trying to hold my those silicone things up in place while trying to do that action scene. And I'm like, "Mom, I give up. I don't want to use these things anymore. Might as well just consider going to a clinic and just have it done." And my mom was like, "If you want to explore that, go ahead. I'll go with you
Explore
to a
talaga.
clinic." Yeah, like go
Love
ahead.
her.
It's your choice. If you think you can live with it, then go ahead and ask around. So I asked my friends, and a lot of my friends were also like very ano naman, generous with what they've done and how it feels. So I went to the extent of going to a clinic, setting an appointment, and I stopped in front of that clinic, and I didn't push through with the appointment because I felt right away like, why am I doing this? So I just told my mom, "You know what? Let's just shop." And she was like, "Shop for implants or shop for..."
Love
So,
it.
umabot ng gano'n. And then eventually, I just started to feel like, if they're gonna make that as an excuse na you can't be mature because you don't have boobs, then
Right.
bakit ang daming
So
flat-chested na
shallow.
grown women na, come on, don't give me that bullshit. So I really had to fight for that. I have nothing against plastic surgery,
Right.
cosmetic surgery. It's just for me, I decided, yeah, maybe it's not for me. So there.
And this is why you're always advocating for quashing stereotypes in showbiz and preconceived notions about actors and trying to educate people about very warped perceptions, such as you cannot be sexy if you have no implants, or you cannot fall in love if you don't have like implant teeth implants.
Yeah,
Or what do you call
there's
those?
this really, really good story. I'm sure you know Doc Marlon, right?
Yeah.
I love Doc Marlon kasi one time he was tasked to shoot me for some like parang they wanted the layout to be sexy and he was given pegs like very Victoria's Secret
Oh wow.
like Barbarella, you know, things like that. And so he didn't really like, he said, I'm not gonna text China because it's probably a personal thing. If she's had anything done, then I'll shoot her, you know. Naisip daw niya
Right.
na nagkagaya ko ng implants and I needed like a new set card. When I got there, so of course, like we tried it out and the stylist was Matt Gozun. So we were like trying it out. And I just like I knew like Doc Marlon, si Matt, the makeup artist knew this is not working. Alam mo yon, 'di ba? You
Right.
this
Exactly.
you're a pro at this, Mirza. And I'm like,
Sana Kate Moss na lang, di ba?
sabi ko, this isn't working. Why are they like styling me this way? So eventually I start to explode. Like every
Oh,
felt, I'm like, stop putting me in a fucking box, everybody. Parang sila, oh, syempre yung mga handlers ko were just trying to appease me and saying, sorry, Tina. It's just like, these are just, you know, things that we've been instructed and we're trying to do. And I'm like, can you just please just listen to me and can we just let Doc Marlon and Matt just do their thing and work their magic because you're probably gonna be surprised at what can happen if you just let things be. So Doc was like, they talked among themselves and they're like, China, we know exactly what we're gonna do. You just have to really fight for it and say, just drop the initial pegs and we're gonna give you like really good editorial sexy shit. So
right.
they allowed it because I was like, please allow it. Just give us a chance here to show you the uniqueness of like my body. Because Mirza,
Right.
come on. Sabi ko nga, I may not have boobs, but I've got a fantastic butt. So you guys better trust me. You know, I've got a pretty good shape happening here. So alam mo yon. So, we did it and super ganda nung lumabas. I did two layouts. One was androgynous and one was like a really exotic, tan looking pixie girl, which for me was like probably one of the best things that we fought for. So there, as artists, you just really have to be able to rally behind
Keep
who.
pushing. Right. But mentally, how did you get past like this is what they want me to be? But no, how did you like resolve it in your head and still, soldier on and
I think
be yourself?
my support system was actually one of the things that I was really truly blessed with. You know, my friends never made me feel like I was ugly, my parents.
Right.
And
Right.
so I already had that within myself. But for people who don't have it, uh, there are other like people like me who try to
Right.
encourage it. Or if you look around you now, I'm so happy with the generation because they
Right.
diba, they know how to embrace themselves,
Yeah.
love themselves, their
Your
uniqueness.
diversity.
Yes. So I'm seeing a lot of like growth in terms of like how people see each other nowadays and the acceptance that we have of each other. I'm really hopeful for like the future generation. Kasi yun nga, we were made unique and beautiful, all of us. No matter what kind of things happen, it's part of your beauty. And I feel like you should be brave enough to actually speak about it or show people the differences that we have. That's where the beauty lies. It's not in the cookie cutter things that we are presented with. So that's how
And
we mentor that's how we mentor our artists currently.
right. And I'm sure with your help, this has helped them also think the way that they do because of your influence. You've also had to um, have a paradigm shift about the meaning of success in showbiz. And I was quite struck by what you said about the money, the adulations, the awards, the recognition. They're all just icing on the cake. And what really matters to you is that you are able to pursue your passion. I was really struck by this and I'm trying to apply it to my life. You want to tell us about how that kind of paradigm shift happened
Happen.
to you? Yeah.
It didn't come right away, that's for sure. It did take me a couple of years to actually like really understand it. I really had to journey and keep on like
Right.
moving forward. I think it's probably one of the best tips that I can give anybody in this life. Whatever happens, I know everybody has a dream. Everybody has like a certain like point where you feel like, oh, I've achieved something that I'm truly proud of. But then only for you to realize when you actually like get there, there's more.
Right.
So all you have to do is just take out all the outside influence and just look at them, and they're really, if you think about it, they're all like materials, these things that come with whatever job that you're doing. And then you've got to look inward and really see if you're actually happy and joyful with what you're doing, if you feel like you're actually helping yourself and helping other people in the process, I think that's what matters most. And you are free to change your mind. That's for sure. Because, diba, there are different phases in life, and something that you might have loved initially as a young girl will eventually change later on in your life, and you've got to be able to adjust to it and accept it. Um, with grace and like an open sense of, I don't know, kindness to yourself.
Wow.
So yeah, so most like really recently I've been telling my husband and even my management, when I became a mother, I think that's where everything solidified, because all of a sudden I was not thinking of myself in a selfish way. All of a sudden the quality of selflessness became like, started to really bloom because of being a mother. Um, I'm sure even if you're not a mom, it will eventually come, no? Pero with me, it was triggered by the birth of my daughter and then Salem. And sabi ko nga sa kanila, wow, I'm thankful because they're really teaching me a lot about life, about my priorities and what I'd like to achieve further in my life. So yun talaga yung for me, it's one of the best blessings so far. And of course, all the outside things that are happening, things we can't control, the
Right.
pandemic, you
Right.
know, all of this is just really helping me become as simple. I
Right.
don't know, it's there. I think like being simple, being basic, and these things are really happening to me at this point. Everything is being influenced by that. I don't care much about material things right now. I'm trying to like be minimal about things. It's a journey. It's not perfect. I have to still stop myself from trying to acquire.
Right.
But right now, that's like my current state of mind. Kian and I are really trying to move into something that's more simple. Maybe it does come with the fact that there are a lot of things that we dreamed about that we checked out of our bucket list. And we're moving into another type of bucket list, which is more about enjoying life and moving out of the career state. Because we were focused on that for so long. And now
Right.
it's for another phase. Yeah.
Right. It also takes finding the right partner.
Yes.
Trivia. This was shot
Mhm.
in my mother-in-law's house.
Oh my gosh. Really? I love that house. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. A small world.
So what's your advice for finding the right guy? And obviously, you found like a man who is equal in every aspect, so open minded and giving, and you know, as you said, there are no gender roles in your home when it comes
Yeah.
to child rearing. What's your
Yeah.
advice for people about how do they know that it's a
Um
good kind of guy, a right kind of partner?
Again, it's about destroying a lot of set constructs in your mind about the
Exactly.
perfect man.
Right.
Um, when I met Kian, he was far from like my perfect ideal guy, but there was something in my gut that was saying you've got to carry on with this friendship. Um, Initially, there weren't any sparks in like our the
Oh,
first meeting
really?
we had was like really years back in one of the events of MTV, but
Oh,
we were just like we met each other because we were like partners in a game. And then eventually that was that. And fast forward to 2013 when we met on the set, it didn't really start off as wow, my sparks. It wasn't like that initially because I was really irritated with his personality. He was
you
far
were?
from yeah, I was. He was so far from the initial like the guy I met 2008. You
Okay.
know, and I was like being the judgmental person that I was. I was like, also after he has had this amount of success and finally he was given a chance to be in movies, now he's being such a asshole. You know, I actually
Oh.
yeah, initially. And then towards the middle of the day, that's when things started to feel better because I could actually talk to him. And he was the first person who would reach out. Kian is that type of person. He likes having conversations with people, connecting to people. He's just very giving in that aspect. I'm very closed in that aspect, especially because I'm like naturally a guarded person, but he reached out to me and then we started talking about a lot of things and it was a free flowing simple fun conversation throughout our taping and we had 2 days of taping and then I realized it's actually good to have friends na ganito kasi super funny. My mom would always tease me about being so serious around guys because I've only had like two boyfriends. And I'm not the explorative chick, I'd be like
Right,
in Sex and the City, I'd probably be Miranda. You know,
right.
not too explorative, I just stick with one guy. So that was how I always viewed like courtship and dating. It had to be serious. He had to like show me his intentions right away. I wouldn't do any casual things, and my mom would always tease me about it. Imagine my mom. My mom would be like, you gotta live more. You gotta be
Siya pa.
oh, Mirza. My mom would be like, there's no harm in meeting people. So what if you go on out on a date with somebody? It doesn't have to be serious. You don't have to take things to another level right away. You can just have a conversation, have coffee. If you don't like them, ditch them. My mom's such a like modern trailblazer. So ako naman, I always had trouble in that area, the dating, the going around, having fun, going to clubs. I wasn't that type. So I've only had two boyfriends in my life, and they approached me in the way that I thought was actually most respectful, which is going through a courtship and. But then when I met Kian, he was like the total opposite of that because he would not court, not declare anything as like anything exclusive or not even label it as a date until the latter parts of our relationship when he'd finally say, are you free for a movie and can we call this a date? but he taught me how to be fun. He taught me how to enjoy my
Right.
life and he would even he wasn't even like telling me na, oh, if we like each other we be exclusive, and I learned a lot about that in that process na parang sabi ko, yeah, I mean, if you're dating somebody, who is he to stop you from like really exploring and expanding further as a woman, if you can actually like go around with other people and try to talk to them as well and do whatever it is that you feel you want to do. So there. We took it to the next level a few years after, nothing exclusive, nothing na talagang serious na serious until he finally decided it was probably like a good thing to start something that was eto na. Because sabi niya nga sa akin, he would have like, we would have dates where he'd get drunk and and he'd be like confessing his love in like nagsis speech. And I'd
Wow.
laugh at him because I'm like, ah, you're so funny, you're so drunk. I mean, sober up and tell me this. Siguro sa ibang araw when you're not drunk. But he said, I was entirely conscious of what I was saying. What are you talking about? Just listen to me. And sabi ko, I don't feel like taking it seriously at the moment. This is just like how I want it to be. It's fun. I'm happy, single. Oh my gosh. I love myself. I can do whatever I want with my time. So, chill. And we did do that for a couple of years until we finally decided, shucks, we're good friends. We have a good dynamic. We like our company above everything else, even if we're like super attracted to each other and the sex was great, but but yeah, maybe some other time when things are better. And finally when he decided, okay, let's take things further, I was ready for that. So yeah, it happened pretty fast, Mirza.
I know. It looks like a star. How old is Stellar?
Um, Siguro when we decided that we'd actually date exclusively, in 2 months he was already proposing to me. Kasi we were so open to each other, I guess because we were friends. Throughout the years where we would just like date, he'd be like, "Do you actually think you'd like to have a kid with me?" And it was like very easy conversations, nothing serious, and I'd be like, you know what, if you think about it, I'd actually think you'd make a good father for my kids. So yeah, if I decide to have children, you want to have children, we can have children. And we never talked about marriage. We never talked about, it was just easy like that. And when we finally got pregnant, we were ecstatic and over the moon. Na talagang, oh my gosh, we're pregnant, And here we are thinking, I'm old, I might not get pregnant. And he was giving me like a story also na he thinks he might be baog, something like that. We were thinking of going to a doctor to have ourselves checked, because baka mahirapan kami if we decide to get married, and baka mahirapan kami to have children. But then, God had other plans, and all of a sudden, Taylor was in my womb. And yeah, it happened pretty fast. After that, we got engaged in a few months. My parents didn't want us to get married.
Oh, wow.
My dad. They're if based on my stories, I guess you can gauge what kind of parents I have.
Yeah, such cool parents.
They're
But
pretty.
everything fell into place, and now not only are you raising what looks like incredible children, you're also nurturing a whole bunch of artists
Yeah.
in your company. What's your hope and wish for the Pinoy artist? And
We
I
are.
know you're also part of Actor, and you're
Yes. Yes.
striving to pave the way for the next generation of
Mhm.
artists. What are your hopes and dreams and wishes for the next generation of artists to come?
Um, well, definitely in OC Records, we're really championing creative freedom. So we give them a lot of encouragement and support in terms of believing in what kind of art they make in different phases. We support them. We don't. try to make them feel small because they want to do something experimental, or we try to give them the best advice that we can, balancing business and art at the same time, because that's what we learned. We can have art, but we cannot not think about the business side of things.
Right.
You have to
Right.
balance it off to be able to, get to a certain level of success that you might want to reach. So we're trying to be very rational in that aspect, and we guide them. But really, the number one thing that we're trying to do here, even in Actor, is to really empower the artist in terms of, number one, people should we're breaking the misconceptions about being
Right.
an artista, or
Right.
being an artist. They think that we can't do anything else but entertain, when in fact artists are actually one of the biggest perspective shapers in the
Right.
industry.
Like
So
true influencers in the real
yeah.
sense of the word.
Yes, exactly. In whatever medium you decide to go into, whether it be music or being an actor, may it be like, painting and all other forms of art, um, we feel like our goal is to just empower them to show who they really are, show their voice, and again, to know that it's not about themselves, because all of these things are being channeled through again, inspiration from ages and ages and ages. We don't know, um I don't know, like, who you might term it as. It can be God, it can be the universe, it can be angels, whatever, but we are just, kumbaga, here on earth to be able to help people as mediums of all these things that happen through.
Right.
And I guess that also tries to make them realize na if there's a block, it's fine, things like that. Just to give the artist a healthy sense of being, and not feel inadequate, or yun nga, it's really about empowering the individual. And hopefully through empowered artists, we empower other people as well. Because I feel everybody is an artist,
Right.
one way or another. So
Right.
that's what we're all trying to do at this point. Especially
Right.
like in the past how many years, I'm also happy that we were able to take a break from everything and stay at home and see like the landscape of what other people think of artists, because now we can actually like come together. That's like one of the blessings of 2020. All the artists from wherever bonded together, and now we're trying to make a difference together. So yeah, pretty much I really hope this paves the way for the future generation of artists in the Philippines as well. Um Lagay tayo ng groundwork, tapos para lahat nung pinagtrabahuan ng ibang artists from before hindi
Right.
lang. Yeah.
Right. And I'm certain it will pave the way. I'm not even really an artist and I feel
You
empowered
are.
already. Trying to be.
You are.
We could talk forever and ever, but sadly, we have to end this. But thank you, Chynna. Thank you for fighting to be who you are and teaching us that we too should fight for our place in the sun and to be who we really are and not be afraid and to have coraggio to show
Yes.
the world who we are and what we're made of. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your platform, Mirza. I mean, much respect to you and everything that you do. And thank you for giving me your time as well today. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and chikahan na lang tayo after.
Right, likewise. We'll talk about our guts and our other things later on. Marami akong ano dyan, findings.
Ay, okay.
And we
Share
can
natin
eat
sa
cheese
isa't.
and chocolate again.
Thank
All
you.
right. Have a nice weekend. Thank you.
Thank you for listening in, guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.